Good morning. Suddenly everything was clear. And then I also think I want to write today. It's coming along. That feels good. Feels really good. Anyway, that's a separate rant. I am not happy when I'm not writing. I need the escape that writing provides. Good morning. I honestly don't even really need my sunglasses at the moment. There's a tiny bit of sun, as you can see, but there's also a little bit of clouds over it. And so that's making just a bit of a difference. It feels not that bad out here this morning. Like, it actually doesn't feel terrible for a change. It's warm, but I'd say it's like right at the limit of what I can tolerate. Like maybe just slightly over that limit, but it's probably the best it's been in a while. I am out about 10 minutes earlier than I've been, and the sun is now coming up about 10 to 15 minutes later than usual. When I first came out for this walk, the sun was just starting to hit the top of the tree and the chimney across the way from my apartment. And when I looked out the window just a few minutes earlier, like just 10 minutes earlier, it wasn't. I don't even think it was a full 10 minutes. So the sun was just starting to hit the building across from me. So yeah, you can feel it. The humidity doesn't feel as bad because the sun isn't up that high. The heat of the sun, I don't really feel because it's not up that high. It feels nice. So I'm wondering if I might be able to go for a slightly longer walk than usual, which would be really nice. But yeah, these walks, I really cannot describe how much these walks are saving me and my sanity this summer. Someone in the comments, and I can't remember who, comments in one of my recent videos said that they remember that summers are usually really, really hard for me in terms of my mood. But it seems like this summer it's not as bad. You're noticing, like, that's a correct observation. That is a correct observation. I usually get really bad seasonal depression in the summer. Like, it's full-on seasonal affective disorder. I get that, but I get it in the summer. Most people get it in the winter. And this summer, I just don't seem to be getting it as bad. And I honestly think it's because of these walks. So I'm still struggling for other reasons. We'll talk about that later in this vlog. I'm definitely still struggling. It's not like my life is magically amazing, but I don't have that extra weight on top of me. So that feels nice. It's just funny how, like, what feels like one little change can lead to such a massive result. And like a massive change in your life. Like, literally all I did this summer was I started waking up earlier, and that was hard. I won't lie, that was very hard. Mornings have never been easy for me. With fibromyalgia, waking up, like going to sleep is hard. So if I can't go to sleep on time, waking up earlier is hard. And so I don't know why it worked this time, because I've tried before. I'm getting older, and that changes my sleep routine or what. But I managed to start waking up earlier. And that meant I could start going for morning walks before it got scorching hot. And just that one change has definitely made me feel a lot better this summer, which has made it easier to deal with all the other stuff I'm going through and dealing with. So, yeah, again, it's just another one of our reminders to not underestimate the power of small changes and small progress, because it can add up to big changes and big progress. It is now later in the morning. It's still morning. It's still morning. And this has been the other thing I have really liked about waking up early. I feel like I can have a slower, lazier morning, but still also have time in the day to get stuff done. Like, it's nearly 11. So that's, I've been up for a while. That's getting kind of late, but also I still have like a few hours I can actually get stuff done. So I find that like if I'm able to get 2 to 4 hours of like good focus work done in a day, and it varies right now during the summer. That's during the summer. During the academic year, I try to get more than that done as far as like good focus work. But if I can get 2 to 4 hours of good focus work done in a day, if I'm not starting, like sitting down to start that focus work until around 11, I've got plenty of time to then get 2 to 4 hours done. So I'm gonna do 1 hour about, and then I'll stop and eat lunch. I've had a smoothie and some cereal for breakfast, but I do want to have lunch. But breakfast is my favorite meal, so I usually have like 2 breakfasts, but they're at like breakfast and lunch times, if that makes sense. I'll have breakfast, like cereal, a smoothie, a piece of cheese, right after my walk, and then I'll go a few hours or so, and then at lunchtime I'll have my second breakfast, like the toast and eggs and things like that. Anyone else do that? I love breakfast, so why not have 2 of them in a day? Whereas lunch is like, it's not my favorite meal. Anyway, that's a total side tangent. My brain is still in a really weird place. So let's talk about that for a moment. As you saw in the last vlog, I was laughing so I wouldn't cry. Like, I truly was trying to just get through that vlog and that day and everything that was on my list for that day. But I've done a lot of thinking over the last few days. So that was Wednesday. It's now Monday. So what's happened between Wednesday and today? Thursday was bad. Thursday was bad. It was so bad. And like, I try not to think that I have bad days. Thursday was a bad day. Thursday was just, I was not in a good headspace. Saturday, I woke up and realized, oh, that's why Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday were so not good. If you know, you know. So yeah, it like suddenly everything was clear. And yeah, so basically it's that time of the month, and it varies. You know, sometimes it takes 25 days before that time comes around again. Other times it's 40 something days. So it's really hard for me to like track it. I just know that once I'm about 18 days in, that window of potential hell starts. and then it's just a countdown to when it will finally end again. I haven't seen a doctor about it. I talked to my old doctor about it once, and she literally just kind of shrugged and was like, that's normal. And what I deal with on a cyclical basis, I can't say monthly basis because it's not really every 30 days, but what I deal with on a cyclical basis is not normal. And the more I research PMDD, the more I'm like, that's what I'm dealing with. It's not just PMS. It's not normal PMS. It's definitely much more in the PMDD category. But there's really not much they can do. I've looked up like what the treatments would be to see if it would be worth pursuing like an official diagnosis. I'll bring it up to my doctor the next time I go in to see my primary care physician, and I'm gonna bring it up with my GI specialist. I think it is contributing to the IBS, but every month I feel like I'm losing my mind for about 3 days. And I was just at the start of that on Wednesday. And it was after I finished vlogging that day in the last vlog that I thought, wait a second, what day is it? Where am I at in the month? And I did the math and was like, oh, maybe that's why. And then Thursday was just panic attacks, crying hysterically off and on all day, knowing intellectually that my reactions were way over the top for what was actually happening, but mentally and emotionally just having no capacity to cope with anything. And it's scary. It's when you don't really know what's going on and why you're feeling that way, and you just know that it's over the top, it's scary. Like, it does scare me sometimes how bad it can get, and I just need to be better at like tracking, at just like being aware of where I'm at. Like, I've done the math and it's due to happen again literally right as the semester is starting. I love that for me. That's gonna be so much fun. Oh. So I literally feel like I'm at the point where all I can do is just know when it could happen and have like a sticky note up somewhere where I can see it to remind me, and just try to have as little to do during those days as possible. And like, as soon as I start to feel that pressure build in my brain, I just need to know, okay, that's it, we're done. We're done until this passes, and I just can't try to do much of anything during that time. So Thursday was bad. I got a little bit of work done. I did make a lot of progress on the book cover. The issues I was dealing with in the last vlog, I solved those by the time I was done doing some cover sketching on Thursday. So I got it to a point where it should be, fingers crossed, it should be smooth sailing from here on out. I'm looking at the sketch I've got. I'm gonna do some work on it in a moment, but like I feel a lot better about it. So we'll see how today goes. But I did manage to accomplish that on Thursday, but that took everything that was left in me, that took it out of me. And so I didn't get much done the rest of Thursday. And then Friday, I just said, screw it, I'm done. It was opening ceremony of the Olympics. Peacock was showing it live starting at 10:30 a.m. Arizona time. So I went to Whole Foods with Mom, came home, parked myself on the couch, and watched the Olympic ceremony, opening ceremony for the rest of the day. And then, yeah, Saturday and Sunday, I did next to nothing. Just relaxed, watched a ton of Olympics, watched some more this morning. I've been watching the horse eventing competition. So eventing is dressage, cross country, and show jumping. And so it was dressage on Saturday, cross country yesterday, and today is show jumping. I've watched the individual qualifying and the team
finals, and now the individual finals is what I have left to watch. They're only 46 minutes long, so I'm saving that, and I'll watch that when I have my lunch break. So I'm gonna do some cover sketching and then stop and watch that. So today I'm kind of giving myself a partial day off. The big thing I need to do is cover sketch, and then I also think I want to write today, and I'll explain why when we get there, but I think I want to write for like an hour later today, and then that'll probably be how I end the day. So we're going to start with some cover sketching, then I'll take my lunch break, then we'll do some business admin-y type stuff, and then end with some writing. I've had a break over the weekend to do nothing, but the first few days of this week, I just know I'm not going to get as much progress done as I would probably like, and there are things that just aren't going to get work done, and that just has to be okay. I just need a moment. So that's what we're gonna try to do. We're just gonna get some stuff done. We're gonna make some more progress on the cover and feel good about that. Not gonna make myself feel bad about the cover anymore, because it is what it is. We're gonna do 35 minutes. Keep it easy. See how much progress I can make in 35 minutes. And then I can maybe decide to do an extra 5 or 10 minutes, but we'll see. It's coming along. Like, this is how I like to feel about it at the end of a cover sketching session. It's coming along. I've made progress. Details are starting to appear. And I'm drawing this bigger, much bigger. It's currently bigger than, because it's 6 inches wide, about 10.5 inches tall. So my covers are 6 by 9. So it's bigger than the cover at this point. So it's going to get shrunk down in Photoshop. I tend to draw all the elements of the cover a little bit bigger than they need to be, and then shrink them down to the proportion that I need them to be once I get everything imported into Photoshop. I do that for 2 reasons. One, it gives me room to shrink so that I don't have to shrink it down to a specific size. I can shrink it down to what looks right within the cover dimensions on Photoshop. So if it ends up needing to be a little bit bigger or a little bit smaller, I have everything around the edges of that element that I need if it ends up being shrunk down smaller than I need. So that's reason number 1. Reason number 2 for drawing things bigger than I need is I don't do well drawing really tiny little fine detail. I need more space to be able to draw something. It's just easier for me to draw it, to scale it up in the drawing and shrink it down to exactly the proportion I need when I start moving everything into Photoshop. So yeah, that's the method behind that madness. I mean, it's all madness, to be honest. I just like to pretend like I know what I'm doing. I really don't. So yeah, there's more detail. It's coming along. I'm feeling good about how much I did in only about 35 minutes. I think if over the next few days I can be doing 35 to 45, an hour at the most each day, I think by the end of the week I'll have a lot of progress on this. This is the main element of the cover, so there are other things I need to draw still. Those will all be much less complicated. So I'm not panicking about those. This is what I was panicking about. When I had to start over on this, it was too much, y'all. It was way too much. Ooh, actually, this is reminding me. We are now at a stage where I need to start being smart. I'm gonna take a picture of this. Once it's at a point where like to start over now would be really demoralizing and time consuming, I take pictures and scans and things like that. Because if for some reason something happened to this sketch at this point, if I have that picture, then I can just print out that picture and trace over it and be back to where I'm at. I would not want to have to start from scratch, but looking at it like at a distance now, looking at it on the dry erase board, it's looking really good. It's looking really good, which makes me feel like when it does get shrunk down to size on the cover, I think, like if I look at it up close, and that's the problem sometimes with my sketching, I'm looking at things, they're bigger than they're going to be on the cover, and they're like right here because I'm like leaning so close to be able to get my line work precise. So I'm looking at it much more closely than I will like it with the end result. So I need to remind myself to like step back and look at it at a distance and look at it when it is like at more the right proportions. It's coming along. I'm happy. I feel good. That's how that's going. Smiling a lot more than I was in the last vlog, aren't I? That is making me feel very relieved. I think that is coming along. I think by the end of this week it could be in a very, very different position, which would be amazing. That feels good. Feels really good. But yeah, I'm feeling better overall today. I really am. I'm still very tired. I'm still very tired and I'm still very overwhelmed. But as I mentioned in the last vlog, I feel like this is just part 2. This is the addendum to the last vlog. So I'm sorry for constantly referring to the last vlog. I'm realizing that part of the problem on Wednesday was just where I was at in my cycle, and you know what that was doing to my brain and how I just was not coping properly. So that's part of it. Part of it is also where I'm at in the cycle of publishing, and I'm realizing 8 books in, this is the 8th one. I had the thought in the last vlog, and I mentioned it, that maybe I need to start doing the cover and the title and the book description first. Do that much earlier in the process because it's where I have the most difficulty as an indie publisher, and just it causes so much stress at a point in the process where I'm already very stressed. And so maybe I need to do those things first. I'm still thinking that. I do think I need to start doing those things much, much earlier in the process and just getting them done, even if it means that I reach a point where I can't start writing, or I can't write beyond the 50% mark of the book unless those things are finished, just to incentivize myself to get them done. Because I hate feeling this way at the end of the book. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing but expecting a different result, and I feel like I'm reaching that point. I do the same thing for every book and then wonder why I get so stressed. It's clearly because going through the process in the order I've been going isn't working for me. It's not working for my brain. And as an indie author who's doing everything on my own, I have to think differently. So if I had a cover designer working on the cover right now, and if I had a marketing person helping me finalize my book title and book description, like if I outsourced that, then all I would have to be worrying about right now is formatting and proofreading, and those don't stress me out in the same way. It's only because I'm trying to do everything all at once. And I only really stress about the title and the book description and the cover at this stage because I've got dates pressing in on my brain, dates of when I want to try to upload everything and publish everything, and so I've got the pressure of deadline bearing down on me. Whereas when I start writing a book, when I'm outlining and writing, when I'm way at the beginning of the process, I'm not even thinking about a deadline because I haven't set a I've got like a season. Like I know, like I'm kind of about to start working on Independent Hearts 4, and that's what I think I want to write, do some writing in later on today. I roughly would like it out sometime next summer. That's the only deadline I have for that right now. So if I don't let myself write beyond the 50% point in that draft until I finish the cover for that book, and if I get a little bit delayed on that book, I can both make up that lost time in writing the second half of the book and in editing the book, but also I can then just decide, you know what, actually I'll put it out in the fall. Like it doesn't feel like that big of a deal when I'm that early in the process to get behind. But when I'm sitting here saying, I really want this out before the semester starts or right at the beginning of the semester, and then suddenly it looks like that's not going to be possible, that's when the panic alarms start going off in my head. So I clearly need to move those things to the front of the process, the start of the process, even though my brain has always said that those things are part of the last stage of the process. They don't have to be. And I think instead of doing the same thing and then wondering why I get so stressed, I need to just break that cycle and rearrange things into an order that feels less pressurized for me. So we'll see. The thought of turning around and drawing another cover right after finishing drawing this one is a little bit daunting, but I do think I could take some time off of cover sketching, but then also take more time with drawing that one. And like, I think it could all work out. So yeah, I always do this to myself, and I feel like you guys are remarkably patient in listening to me talk about this book after book after book after book, but I don't want to keep doing this to myself, and I don't want to keep inflicting all these little breakdowns on you all, because it's not fun to vlog and it's not fun to watch. So I think we just need to switch things up and try doing things a little bit differently and just see how that feels. Knowing my brain, if I get the cover and all of that done for Independent Hearts Book 4, like before the end of this year, it'd be amazing. My brain will find something else to panic about. So we'll have to see if that's a legitimate thing it panics about closer to publication, or if it's something easier to manage. But like, I'm not saying that this change will get me to the next one and then that launch will go completely differently and I won't be stressed as we near that launch. Like, my brain will find something else to panic about. But I'm tired of panicking about this every single time. So we're gonna try to switch things up. But for now, it is noon. It's 12:01. I want to go get some tea, I think, or I might save tea for when I sit back down. I want to get some food. I think I'm gonna scramble up some eggs and have some toast. I'm feeling good. The cover progress has helped, but I'm feeling good, so we're gonna keep that going. And to do that, definitely I'm ready for a break and some lunch. Okay, it is now, oh God, I've gotten distracted. I was doing really well, but I'm now like 15 minutes over. I'd wanted to like stop working at 2:30 and it's 2:42. Stop working on what I've been working on and switch to something a little bit more fun. But I'm done on LinkedIn and I'm done with my website, so I can cross those things off. I've made some tea. It's nearly done. It's gone a bit cold. Definitely, when that last like 2 sips, I've gone cold. So yeah, oh, my newsletter. Yeah, I already crossed that off. I did some work on my newsletter. I'm trying to get into sending weekly newsletters, but shorter newsletters. I think I mentioned that in the last vlog. So I've got a draft of the one I'm going to send this Friday, and I've already started like writing bits in it. So yeah, what I could have done, what I should do, because this will make it faster and easier, is put all the links that I'm gonna need, because that's what took me so long the last time, was putting in all of those links. So I want to try to get links put in to my notes so that I already have all those links in place. So there, that's done. That's good. You all are being so lovely, as always, on today's vlog. And I just have to say, oh, there's been more comments that I haven't seen. Victoria is saying that when she gets stressed or anxious, she usually goes for a nice cup of tea, cuddles with her fur baby, or a great bubble bath. Bubble bath would be really nice. I wish I had a proper bathtub. It's tiny. Like, they may as well just put in a walk-in shower. There's no point to that bathtub. But I have had the tea, and that's one reason why I had it, because tea, there's just something about a good cup of tea, and like black tea with a little bit of sugar and a little bit of milk, and like the ritual of doing all of that, picking out the mug. There is something about tea that makes it so much better. Wow, quite a few, it's a bunch of comments that I did not see on my phone. Amy F. Miller says that when she is really stressed, she finds talking through the jumble in her head helpful, kind of like you did with us. You guys really do help me so much without even probably realizing it. Being able to turn on the camera and talk through the problem, usually in talking through it, as you kind of see in some of the vlogs, like by the end of the vlog, I'm in a better place than I was at the beginning of the vlog, because I've had time to think about things. And then as I'm editing it, I'm listening through everything I've said, usually a day or so later, so that helps me process it even more. Like, just know that when you see me stressing out, chances are by the time you're watching it, I'm in a very different place. And you'll then see that in the next vlog, like this one. But it was Mandy's comment that made me laugh so much. She said, you could, because I was talking about the cover and being stressed about the cover. She says, you could seriously publish a plain colored cover that just said ATP4 on it, and I'm still gonna buy it. I'm in for your writing, not your cover design. Just saying. And 2 people have given that comment a thumbs up. Yeah. This is why I adore you guys. Like, this is why you all are just so special to me, because I know that you all aren't the ones I have to worry about. I know that you all are going to get the book if you're interested in the series, and you're going to enjoy it, and like, people will appreciate you all will appreciate my writing and my story. And so it really, it does take some of the pressure off, knowing that at least among this community, I don't have to put so much pressure on myself for the title and the cover design and all of that. It does help. Talking to you all helps, hearing your feedback, like having that validation of like, I could do whatever I wanted with the cover and you're still gonna get it, really does help take the pressure off quite a bit. I think my problem is, and the thing I always have to remind myself of when I get to this stage, is I really can't compare myself to the authors who would outsource these different tasks. Like, I can't compare myself to the author who hires a cover designer, hires an editor, a copy editor, a formatter, a proofreader, and a marketing specialist. I can't compare myself because there's no competition. Theirs are always going to be better. And that's just an objective statement. When you pay professionals to do these jobs, they're going to do better than someone who's doing all of it by themselves. Even though like I said in the last vlog, I can do these things. It just takes me longer. And then the fact that it takes me longer adds the stress. And then also knowing that like my illustration style is nice, I like it, but is it competitive to what is trending in the market right now? Then again, I see some choices that are trending in, you know, the romance genre right now for covers that I'm like, never. I will never follow that trend. I will never do that to my covers. There's this one trend in particular that I do not want to say. I don't want to give details because I don't want you to figure out what I'm talking about. But I'm sorry, it looks creepy. It just does. It looks creepy. And it may, like, so many covers have this look. I will never do it. I will still buy a cover that does this, but I will never do that to my books. So ultimately, what does any of it matter? Trends change. My covers may not be the trendiest right now, but trends change, and give it another few years. And I also, not only can I not afford to hire a cover designer right now, but I also can't afford to hire a cover designer to recover my books every few years when the trends in book covers for my genre change. No. Even if I did make more money from my books, no. I get recovering your books every several years, every decade, like for the 10th anniversary or something. Cool. Give me a 10th anniversary cover. But changing them every like 2 or 3 years just because the trend has changed, let's not normalize that as readers and as authors. Anyway, that's a separate rant. So yeah, your comments were making me feel really good. Another thing that was making me feel really good was my sales dashboard for my books. So I found out I sold 3 books today, which is amazing. And a few days ago, I got a massive shock when I had 6 orders in one day. That's the most single day orders I've had in a while. But between those orders and the 3 orders that popped up today, you all have made this month my 6th highest selling month in the entire time I've been publishing novels on Amazon. And also, I'm pretty sure, because I'm looking at my lifetime stats right now, and all my other spikes have been book launch months. So it's the biggest spike I've had outside of a launch month, and it has even beat the launch of book 3 of Across the Pond. I know that you all can't single-handedly keep giving me this many sales. Like, the channel needs to keep growing if YouTube alone is going to be what like boosts my author career. But I really, like, you all have, the support you have shown this month and last in terms of book sales and YouTube stats, AdSense revenue, view counts, all of that stuff. The support you've shown me this month and last month, I don't take it for granted, and I don't take it lightly. It means so much to me, and honestly, I think it's one of the things that's really kind of keeping me going this month, as I'm just feeling like I'm putting so much pressure on myself. It is kind of giving me permission, I feel like, a reminder, if you will, to take some of that pressure off, because I just have such a great group of you all here supporting me, and I don't know, it helps. It's hard to articulate exactly how it helps, but it helps. again, we're not talking quit your job money. It's not like, you know, when I say that it's the 6th highest, we're not talking quit my day job kind of sales. But if you could see how much better it is compared to other months, like April, where I didn't earn anything for the entire month. A month like this one just feels amazing. It's that reminder to just stick with it and keep going. But now I want to write. I have not written since London. York. The train. I wrote for one day, for like 1 hour. Mom and I went to a coffee shop and I wrote in a Cafe Nero in London. And then on the train from York to Oxford, on the first train we were on, it was quiet. We had a table. I did some writing there. So I did do some writing in England, but I have not written since then. And I hadn't done a whole lot of writing before because I've been so, before the trip, because I've been so focused on editing. I've decided I'm going to give my brain a break from all the work and let myself just get lost in creating some fiction because I think I need it. So I'm gonna pull up Independent Hearts 4 and do some writing in that. Just have some fun writing. I haven't really gotten to do that for a while. So I think I'm gonna write, work, sit with this project. It won't all be writing, but it'll be mostly writing for an hour. I'm gonna work up until 4 o'clock and then I will let myself be done for the day. Was farther than I thought. I was almost to the end of chapter 3. So I have now finished chapter 3 and started chapter 4. I'm not going to be able to write tomorrow or the next day. I might try to write like this at least 1 day a week, maybe 2. But the reason I wanted to do this today is I really do think that not writing is also contributing to my mood and just how unhappy my brain feels. I have learned this about myself, but I do forget about it every now and then. Like I just get so swept up in editing and cover design and, you know, all the publishing stuff, getting ready to, like, trying to finish a book. And I forget as I get sucked into the editing process, if I'm not working on more than one project at a time, it means that once I'm at the editing stage for one project, then I'm not writing anymore. Whereas if I'm editing one project but writing another, that keeps me a little bit happier. But earlier this year, I got so busy with everything that I just couldn't manage to keep working on this, because I started working on this in December. I started working on this in December of last year. That's all the created dates. So I think that was when I'd started working on, yeah, because I published Candle Shop in November. So I would have started working on this book in December. And that makes sense because that was winter break, and so I would have been able to get some work done on it during winter break. But then my last modified date, it looks like I stopped working on this in February, because in February was probably when I started just really focusing on getting edits for Across the Pond done, which is rightly so. Like, that needed to be the priority. And in a perfect world, I would have liked to have been doing little bits of writing, like a few hundred words a day in this project while editing Across the Pond. I couldn't manage multiple projects. And if I had time to spend on a book project, it needed to be Across the Pond. But I am not happy when I'm not writing. I'm just not. Like, I am a writer first and foremost. Editing is important, and editing is part of the writing process. And so developmental editing is fine. That's still creative enough that it kind of gives me the same benefit as writing, like writing something new. But when I got back from England and I was just doing copy editing and now starting to work on the cover and all of that stuff, it's not the same, and it's not scratching that itch in my brain. And so I'm just getting a bit twitchy and grumpy and cranky, and yeah, like I'm noticing it. I know that's a huge part of it. I need the escape that writing provides. Like, I'm not reading as much, although that's starting to change. I feel like I was getting last night I was reading, and I'm rereading Deborah Harkness's All Souls trilogy because the 4th book just came out, and I want to reread the 5th book just came out, and I want to reread the first 4 and then read the new one. So I'm rereading book 1, Discovery of Witches, but I've been reading it so slowly, and last night was the first night that it felt like I didn't want to put it down. I wanted to just keep reading. And I haven't had that feeling in a while with any of the books I've been reading. I've just been struggling with reading. I've not been writing, so I'm not really getting that much creative fiction in my life right now. And I'm missing it. And I feel like reading and writing to me go hand in hand. If I'm not reading that much, I struggle with writing, and if I'm not writing anything, I even struggle with reading. Like, it goes both ways. I need both of them in my life. And so yeah, I'm just realizing I can't keep forgetting this. It's something else that it's a cycle I get into. I get so busy that I stop writing, but then because I stop writing, that just contributes to how unhappy and like discontent I feel. And then that causes other problems. So this felt good. This felt really good. I can check off writing on my task list for today. The rest of the week I need to focus on other things. But like, I've been looking at my cover illustration, the illustration I was working on earlier, and like, it's still looking good. I'm feeling good about what I need to work on with it next. I do think that there'll be a lot of progress made this week. I think by next week I'll be feeling very different. I'll be in a very different place with all of this. So it's kind of like I was saying at the end of the last vlog, like, when you're struggling with stuff, just hang on. Just, you know, in just a few days it's gonna feel different, and in a week it's gonna feel different, and in a month it's gonna, like, this time next month, all of this is gonna be in a completely different place. Everything I'm stressing about right now, like, is gonna feel so small in just a month. So yeah, anyway, I think I'm gonna wrap this vlog up here because I feel like it's gotten long enough, and I only have one day to edit this tomorrow. The last several vlogs I've had like 2 or 3 or 4 or even 5 days to edit because I was so ahead, but I've gotten a little bit behind. I'm not filming as ahead as I usually do, so I'm only gonna have tomorrow to edit this. I hope you've enjoyed this vlog. Thank you again. Thank you if you've bought one of my books recently. If you bought a book this month or last month, oh my gosh, thank you. You're amazing. It just means the world to me. Again, I literally do a happy dance here at my desk for every book sold, because every time I see another order, and pages read in Kindle Unlimited, it's the same thing. Every time I, check my stats and see I've had 50 pages read, or sometimes I'll see there's only been 1 page read, and it's like, ooh, someone's at least opened up the book and started reading. It just makes me so happy, and this is a huge part of why I do this. I could just write first drafts and move on to the next one and never let anyone read them. I write the books for me. I publish them for you. And so when you read it, when you buy it and read it, it makes me so happy. So thank you, but also a huge thank you if you're watching these vlogs, if you're watching them all the way to the end, if you're watching them through all the ads. Like, that just means so much. Like, if you're watching me without using an ad blocker, you are the real MVP. And if you're watching me without an ad blocker and you're watching all the way to the end of the vlogs, special extra thank you to you, because it really does make a difference. So, I don't always talk about the numbers or share the numbers, but I see them. I see the fluctuations, and even when the progress feels slow, I'm still so grateful. Yeah, I don't want to become a broken record, but I also want to make sure I'm thanking you all properly, because you're why I do this. Again, I could make the videos and just leave the files on my computer just for me. I publish them for you. So it means a lot when you watch them, when you comment and engage with them somehow, when you give them a like, when you subscribe, when you read my books in Kindle Unlimited or buy a copy. Like, it means a lot. So I'm feeling pretty good this evening, and it's all because of you all. So thank you. So on that note, if you did enjoy this vlog, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. I'd really appreciate both of those things. If you've read one of my books and have not yet left a review, please leave a review. 1 or 2 sentences and a star rating. That's all you need to do, and it really does make a huge difference, so I'd really appreciate that. Leave me some writing and typing related emojis in the comments in honor of me doing some writing today. Let me know if you were excited to see the return of some writing content. More writing vlogs coming as soon as the publishing vlogs are done. Let me know what you're currently working on, what your current creative project is. If you're writing something, what are you writing? If you're making something, what are you making? If you're reading something, what are you reading? But let me know what creative endeavors you are currently pursuing. I would love to know in the comments. And yeah, I've been talking for nearly 20 minutes just in this one clip, so I'm going to stop now. And I will see you all very soon in the next vlog. Thank you very much for watching this one. Bye!